Let me ask you something. Are you getting everything out of your rent-to-own business? If you're not an A-Pro member, then the answer is probably no. Look, advocacy is A-Pro's bread and butter. This is why they were created and what they do best. But here's the thing. A-Pro membership is about way more than advocacy. A-Pro connects you to the movers and the shakers of the industry. People who've been there, done that, and they can help you do it even better. A-Pro's monthly webinars give you expert insights and actionable takeaways. It's like having a masterclass for your business every single month. Got questions about complex regulations or sticky situations? No problem. A-Pro's legal hotline gives you direct access to experts who have got the answers. That's a peace of mind that you can't put a price on. And let's not forget the resources, news, updates, and tools that keep you ahead of the curve. Scholarships for your team? Check. Disaster relief when you need it most? Double check. A-Pro is your ultimate support system in the rent-to-own world. So stop settling for less. With A-Pro, members get more. More support, more connections, and more success. Head over to rtohq.org and join the A-Pro family today. Because in this business, more isn't just better. It's essential. See you at the top with A-Pro. Hello and welcome to the RTO Show. I'm your host, Pete Shau. Today, we're talking a different aspect of rent-to-own. And listen, this is something that I think is so important. We've heard it time and time again, and it's AI. Today, I'm talking to Daniel Hajduk from Vox Populi. Now listen, they know a lot about everything, marketing, including AI use. And so I thought it was a great idea to have Daniel here. On top of that, just so you guys know, Vox is a platinum sponsor for their RTO show. If you guys have RTO marketing needs, you definitely want to see them. You definitely want to talk to them. But the reason that you're here today is because we're part of a 6-part mini-series that we're going to go into. We're going to dive deep into AI. And when I say deep, the different aspects of it. Now, today we're going to talk about an introduction. I'm going to try to get Daniel to tell me that AI is not some Terminator that James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger came up with a couple of years ago. But one of the ideas of how did it come about? Where are we going with it? What can we do with it? And better yet, how is it going to make things better for you? So Daniel, why don't you introduce yourself and we get started that way?
So yeah, my name is Daniel Hajduk. I have been working full-time at Vox Populi for over 2 years now, with my dad, Andrew, who's been on the show a couple times. And as you know anything about us, you know that we are not a technology company. We're not an AI company. We don't have any direct AI services, but we are using it. And we felt the need of what we know with RTO and what we do with our marketing, what we're doing with our own company and AI, that there was an opportunity to talk about it here today.
It really kind of steps up when you're talking about AI and you talk about all the aspects of it. The first thing that I think of is, am I going to lose my job? Is somebody that can use AI kind of replacing the podcast series? Are they going to be able to replace me at work? But then as we got talking, I started to realize it's not as scary as I thought it would be, but more like a tool-based system. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, in a general aspect, you tell me, you know a lot more about it than I do. If I was to just say AI, and I'm trying to introduce the term AI to somebody who doesn't know it as much, but they are terrified that one day they're, whatever they're doing is going to be subjective to something else and it's going to be replacement because it's cheaper, faster, it doesn't think, it doesn't go home. What do you say? What is AI?
It can mean many things, and it should mean different things to people in all different kinds of settings. The basic level thing in my mind, it's a tool. It's a tool that anyone can use. And it's also a revolutionary thing like electricity, like the atomic bomb. It's something that's big. It's accessible to literally anyone. And there's so many ways you can use it. It's kind of a tool. I like to look at it like an X-ray machine, as it helps your eyes see past what your eyes can normally see. AI can help your brain and help you process things faster than you're able to naturally.
So you said accessible, right? How does somebody access AI? Because I already know that there are some simple ways that it's being introduced into my life. Mm-hmm. But if I wanted to access it, I want to, for lack of a better term, talk to AI and have it talk back to me. What are the avenues that somebody who doesn't know anything about AI go, okay, well, all right, how do I get to know this better?
It's quite easy. You are using AI pretty much in everything you do nowadays on your phone, laptop, computer, car, anything, because whether or not you think you're using it, the service you're probably using has AI embedded into it in some sort of form. If you're wanting to actually go directly and use it, like the most common way people talk about ChatGPT or any kind of bot like that, you just go online, go to your search engine, whatever you use, and type in Claude, type in ChatGPT, any search engine there, and you'll be able to start chatting with the AI bot as quick as you can. But again, like I said, you're using it every which way you're on your phone nowadays. So you go to Facebook, Facebook's using it. You go to, what app do you use on a daily basis?
Amazon.
Everything Amazon does has AI embedded into it.
Well, because I do see that you can look up something or it has like an AI, we can almost kind of describe what it is you're looking for. I've noticed that when I go onto Facebook now, it's giving me options. I couldn't even tell you why it's giving me option, but it does. And so I get one of those side faces like, what are you trying to figure out? Like, what are you trying to learn? But then the flip side of that is you search faster. You search by your normal terms and not by the explicit terms, but the terms that are very direct. I'm looking for this, this, and this, and you can actually just say, I'm looking for a brown sofa, contemporary leather. Boom, there you go, and then it'll spit out all these options. Or washing machine, maybe a little bit larger, glass top, preferably energy specific, Energy Star rating or whatever on a 110, 220 dryer, whatever the case is. And it changes all this aspect of it. But, then we always go back to, okay, if that's the case, then are we replacing somebody on the other end? Is there somebody who's no longer going to be able to pay the groceries or pay the rent because we're doing this?
No. I think with any invention or any new technology, there are things that change. But no matter what that's going to happen, there's things that go obsolete with every little thing that comes out. It's more of just going to enhance things. And if people are using it right, it's enhancing. So where you're seeing error with customer service, that should enhance customer service. It should be able to point people in the right direction before they just wander off or get stuck on the phone talking to the wrong person. I do not think it'll take away anyone's job outside of anything that's just naturally going to fade out no matter what AI does or how big it is. Because there's leaning views on how impactful it's going to be. There's people who think it's going to become everything. There's people who think it's just going to be another thing that people really aren't going to notice, and it's not going to be this huge monstrous thing. So I don't think there is going to be a big overtaking of everything, and I don't think it's going to be fast. It's just making things better. And I think if that's why we're emphasizing the importance of using it, because while I don't think it's going to take away someone's job, it should make your job easier. If you're not using it, you could get behind and your competitor who is using it. So it's just go along for the ride. So if you have, because I know that it happens generationally, you have an older aspect of people, an older geographic demographic, in certain areas, like in rural areas, they probably don't see it as much. More in the cities, when you have the Uber taxis in some place in San Francisco where they're driving by themselves right now, or you're in the city where you're looking for a train, you can talk to something that's going to give you back the train stops, the times, running late, not running late, going to airports or whatever. And you're more rural areas and your geographic areas where they just don't use it. Yeah. It's just not one of those things. I use my phone for a phone call, and I might check my email, my Facebook every once in a while, but I really don't use it that much. And then you have areas where there's younger populations where they do use it all the time. How do you get those people to understand on both ends that, like you said, AI is a tool and not necessarily something that's going to replace who's on the other end of the phone? I think it's however they can use it. So I think you in your life are going to use it differently than someone my age coming out of college might use it. You're going to find different needs. An older person might use it for something completely different. They might use it to assist them from doing things that they no longer want to do or finding things. There's so many tools out there to use that I think if you just start trying things out and looking for things and, hey, what is an AI friendly tool for this? Whether it is a grammar chatbot or whether it is a shopping thing, an organizer tool, whatever it is, it's however people are going to, it's going to take slower or more time for other people to adopt than others, as every technology and new thing does. And, just getting out there, really it is.
For instance, you've mentioned something that I really didn't know until I actually started speaking with VoxBot. You hear ChatGPT. That's everywhere. That is the most well-known because that's just what started, right? Almost like it's Windex and window cleaner. We call everything Windex because that's what came out first.
It's the brand name for the product.
Right. But it doesn't necessarily mean that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, you've got the Galaxy version, you've got the Alexa version, you've got every other version. But you mentioned Claude. So as far as paid AI goes, because that's a whole different ballgame from what people use for free, right? So if we're using that as an introductory course and how it works and how can I get something out of it, how does GPT or Claude differ in that sense? And what exactly do you use that for?
So the difference between a ChatGPT, a Claude, or whatever it is, those are chatbot names that different companies have created. ChatGPT is OpenAI's chat engine. And within that, they have different engines. So there's ChatGPT Mini and a bunch of different ones, and they're going to keep coming out with new ones of variants of what they do. Right here, we use Claude on a daily basis, and we have a paid version, and there are like 3 or 4 different kind of chatbots within Claude. So there's Claude 3.5 Sonnet right now, which is their most intelligent model. There's Claude 3 Opus, which excels at writing and complex tasks. And then there's another like kind of normal chatbot. Same thing with ChatGPT. There's also ones like Grok, which Twitter has, or X, whatever you want to call it. So again, those are just certain companies or organizations, their chatbot. So if the RTO show came out with their own chatbot, that could become its own thing.
Coming to you soon is the RTO show chatbot that we're going to be able to use, and you can talk to my AI voice. But because the way I see it is, there's going to be the entry level, somebody who probably won't use it as much or uses it very sparingly. Yeah. You have people who, like you said, the younger version of people coming out of college or using that iteration of I already out of college, now I'm into my work and making that happen. And now you've got ChatGPT, you've got Claude, you've got paid versions. So if there's free, why would I want to pay for it?
Let's take a quick break.
Hey everyone, it's Pete Shau here from the RTO Show podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space. Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing, and let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too.
I don't think you really need to pay for it yet. If you haven't gotten started and you just need to get started on something to do basic things, just start using it. ChatGPT does not cost to start using. If you want to go onto ChatGPT and say, hey, what are some ways I can do X task? It'll tell you that. You don't got to put credit card in. You don't got to send it a check. You just put that in. Wow. Now, the paid version comes in handy when you start using it more, when you want to use it for your company. For example, at Vox, we only used a free version, or people use their own different chatbots for whatever we use it for a few months. And then we were like, all right, we hit a certain buy-in and we got an account on Claude for the whole company, and it gives you a certain level user. It gives you longer chat, usually more up-to-date information, because they're able to update the engines more, because these are huge just computers, basically, at the end of the day. These are huge information centers where these things are running from. So they're not always up to date. Like a normal ChatGPT, you're not going to just go on there and see what happened in the news yesterday. You're going to have a better chance doing that with the paid version.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense then. Okay. So then if I'm coming along, I want to get to know AI. I have the free version. I don't need a paid version. I start using it. Part of what I wanted to talk about, and once we get past this introductory period, is how many different ways that we can affect the lives of somebody in rent to own. How do we get them to understand it? Not only is this something that can be better, but I've also heard it's a tool, right? And so you're only as good as your tools, and your tools are only as good as you, right? So you can't take a chisel and you can't make a Mona Lisa, and you can't take a brush and fix the car, right? There are different tools for different things. You got to find the right tool for the right thing. So there's a way to use AI in your life that we're going to break down in the next 5 different episodes, where we're going to say, in this episode, we're going to tackle this, and we're going to tackle this and tackle this. And how do you use AI to really get there? But there are a lot of different versions of how we can make that happen, because in essence, we're eventually going to be talking about office work, right? And how does that work? And how does that make my office work better, faster, cleaner, and give me more time to get away from my desk? And advertising, and why it works in advertising better, and what can I use it for? And I think one of the reasons that it interested me when we wanted to sit down and talk about this is because, so we did a live episode of the RTO show at RTO World this year. And one of the speakers, Chip Guy, was talking that AI was going to take over. Not take over, but it's going to be more prevalent in what's going on. That's probably the biggest growing thing that's going on right now. He's not the only person who said that.
Yeah.
I've had 3 other people mention it up to that point. And I've mentioned it. It was even one of my vendor spotlights. And it was like, so what's the next thing that's coming up? What's happening? And Brian Rosen was like, what else could it be? It's AI. And even at that moment, when we had said that just a couple of months ago, there were a couple of, like you said, different versions of things that came out. I had a phone update, and all of a sudden now it's saying I can AI this and AI that, and I can AI search. But the fact that AI is so prevalent now gives a lot of people worry, and so I want to bring back that veil of saying there is no reason to worry about it, especially at this point. I don't think they have the Terminators loose quite yet.
Yeah.
But this is what you can use it for, how you can use it, and a display of what can happen. Now, if you're breaking yourself into this, you said you start slow, how would you gradually move up? What do you think is a good way to get somebody to go from, I have no idea what AI is, to something that you're doing where you're actually paying you're paying for Claude to have everybody available to do this, to help your everyday, day-to-day work?
So you start somewhere. With like anything, you start with the training wheels on. So you go on somewhere where you can't do much damage. You're not going to break your business. You're not going to commit a crime. You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings at the end of the day by just going on a chatbot and using it for that. Then you start thinking about ways you get more comfortable with that. And you start realizing what its capabilities are, and that, oh, cool, this is really cool. And then that leads to other tools. So it's not necessarily a chatbot, but it's AI integrated things with different platforms used within your company. If you look for it, pretty much any company you use for anything has AI in it now today. I was listening to something earlier today. It was the Adobe CEO talking about AI with their new products coming out. So your creative system, your accounting system, whatever you're using is going to have AI involved with it. And it's how you use those tools. And you're just going to get more comfortable naturally over time with using different things. So I think just start somewhere. And you're going to start seeing it. It's going to become more prevalent in your mind. I didn't think a year ago, I was like, cool, whatever it is. I think it's only really the tech guys using it. They're using it in some weird way that doesn't really know. It's behind closed doors. It's not going to affect us. It's just going to be a thing that runs that no one really notices.
Right.
But that's not the case. And I think most people are waking up to that now, that everyone can do something with it literally from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. So it's finding those tools and getting comfortable with it and knowing what it can help you with, because it's not good for everything. And we'll go into it over the next 5 episodes, but it's not going to replace who you are as a human and what you do in your business and what makes you special. It never will, I don't think, until I don't think we're all here no longer. So I think we're all going to be okay. But it's just getting comfortable, and you learn so much every day. And you're never going to learn everything. There's literally a new invention or a new company program coming out with it every single day. If you start watching the business news, every 5 minutes, they're talking about what their new initiative is with the chips, with the suites, with the chatbots. Everyone has their own chatbot now, which we'll go into, but
yeah, it's getting crazy.
It's all you hear now, whether it's a customer thing or a business thing, everyone uses it. So it's just getting comfortable.
So there's the other side of the coin too, because I've tried to do as much homework on this as I can, and it's out there. Like you said, it's out there. Every time you flip a page, every time you click a link, there's something going on out there. There's also the idea that if I start using a chatbot, I'm not going to say which one, any specific brand, but if I start using a chatbot, what the other side of the coin is, people say, well, it takes away the creativity of the user, right? You kind of start using it as a crutch. If I'm a reporter and I put in my several topics, boom, it comes out. I got it. I'm writing it. If I'm writing a paper for college, well, then what do? I give it a couple of ideas. I say that, and boom, I've got a complete, college essay out there. I've even heard somebody say, you know what, sell your book on Amazon. Just, put a couple of things together, get this paid version. And the paid versions really aren't as expensive as somebody might think. Boom, you get a book. And then as the time goes on, I've heard you become less creative because of it. What is your take on that?
So it is something you got to be careful with. And that's where I think the take over the world or mess things up for the worst of things comes in play, where it takes over things and it makes people not think anymore. And that's where the whole, people that go into the deep rabbit hole, the people in the basements just typing up their things and thinking the world's going to end tomorrow, is the whole AI is going to become their own thing and they're going to be the superior species on the planet, which is that is something that we don't need to worry about now, in my opinion, because humans just become reliant on everything it does. So, and it's easy to kind of get reliant on some things like, oh, just do this for me and write every single thing. And you have to be careful with it, whether it is your marketing, your sales, your administration task, your daily life. You cannot rely on for everything. First off, it's not good for you. And it's not going to give you what you're looking for. And it is going to have issues. They are brand new things coming out. This is like the car coming out back in the day. It is not perfect and not what it's going to be. So there's a balance to it with how you use it. Just balance it out and you'll be fine.
How accessible is a chatbot on your phone? I know that I use it on a laptop. I use it on a desktop. I go in, I type it because I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
But is it something that I can put in my pocket? And I'm not just talking about the Alexa version, or I'm not just talking about, the Facebook version, but an actual chatbot GPT that I can say, I need some ideas of X, Y, and Z, or can you place this in an order of, importance to least importance, of larger to not so large, or mass, whatever. Is that also on a mobile platform to where you can just kind of go into it?
Yeah, and that's what makes it so great. And that's why there's no excuse for anyone not just to have it available or know what you kind of can use it for. I'm not saying you need to live your life and become a tech nerd and do everything with the with the chatbot, and you need to become on your phone 24/7, but you can with, again, the same account I have on my laptop that I use for work every day with Claude. I use the same app on my phone. Same account. It has the same stuff. So if I'm at work, I can type on the same thing. I can continue that conversation on my phone if I'm sitting on the couch. Same thing with all the other bots. They have apps. Wherever you're using it, your phone's a computer. Our phones are AI powered, everything powered. You can do it on your phone. So that, again, that's the whole thing. You can use it anywhere, anytime. You're standing in a line at McDonald's. You're just working on a project. You don't have to wait to go back to the office. You can continue it while you're sitting on your phone instead of scrolling through Facebook and looking at stuff that's probably not going to matter in 10 minutes.
Brain rot.
If you're working on a project, keep working on it. And it makes it so nice because, again, you might just be walking along on the weekend and you're like, what about this? You might have a thought come to your mind. Put it down. See what it gives you. You can always go back to it. It'll say, hey, if you're in that same chat, save it for later. It'll go back to it. It'll save it for you. You can recopy it down later if you want to wait to put it into an email or work a project you're working on later that day.
So when you're talking about uses, when you're talking about tools, what are some of the basic ways that I could use a ChatGPT? I can use a Claude. What are some of the basic things that I could say, you're right. And now you got me thinking, okay, there are plenty of times where I'm wasting my time during the day, not because I can't be doing something else, because I feel I'm physically can't, right? Like you said, I'm in line, I'm doing something, I'm going somewhere, now I'm waiting, or I'm in the car with somebody else. I'm not exactly at my office, but now you're saying I not only can have it mobily, but I can use it to do things that I can probably make a lot faster. How do I do that? What are some of the basic tools that AI has that I can say, you know what, this is a great idea?
So it's pretty basic, and it's quite easy. Really, anything you put in Google, you can do that there. Again, depending on how up to date, what version you're using, you might not be getting exact yesterday's information. But if you're looking for, hey, how do I do this kind of task, or how do I how do I give me a recipe for spaghetti? It can give you that.
Wow.
It's not going to give you, hey, what happened in the news yesterday? Because again, most of them aren't that up to date, but use it for that. How do I write a good resume intro to put on my resume?
Oh, we're in trouble if everybody starts doing that at rent to own. We don't want you going anywhere.
Yeah,
we're just telling
don't.
you.
Just like when I was in school, there was these kind of tools started coming out where you could use grammar things and have things written for you. If you look and you actually read into something, you can tell when something is fully written. So don't go and just copy and paste something and copy it over. Again, we'll go into all this with the different sales things and marketing things, but don't just copy it over. It's not gonna. People are gonna tell. It's gonna have errors that don't sound like you and who you are, and you got to balance your authenticity with AI. So really anything, if you want to go, but it's great for you have a paragraph that you need to send to someone in an email, and you want just to look over, hey, give me a grammar check for any error. That's what I use it for every single day, by making sure, just look through it one more time, or how I could word this better, and it'll give you that. That's the easiest thing. Or organize these couple things that you have in a document. Kind of just tell me what the important things are.
Well, as we're going through this, and I going back to what you said about earlier iterations, right? There was an earlier situation that kind of related to something newer and a little bit newer, and now we're getting updates every day with the AI bot kind of integrated it in somehow. And so I remember when it first started, it was basically like an algorithm, right? It was an algorithm out there, and it had responses based on what you said, not necessarily an AI in the sense that, because I know they're close to a point.
Yeah.
But, it would say, if you said this, there was a simple response to that. My name is John. What's yours? Whatever, it needed to be, it would say, I'm the computer for, Bank of America, or whatever the case is. Nothing too integrated. But now it's not. What are the differences between the earlier algorithms and, as you're saying, now we're talking about AI? How does it interact with you differently than the algorithm sense when you're talking to AI? Is it more like I'm talking to you now and I'm typing something in and it kind of just gives me a reference like, hey, Pete, how are you doing? This is what I'm typing?
I don't know if you've seen the Google commercial lately that's been going on during the NFL games that I watch, but it's all over. It's just people talking to their phones.
Yes.
And it's like their version of their Siri. And it's literally just people talking to it, kind of like it's their best friend. It's kind of weird because we don't want to all just become friends with our phones, and we're going to have no life. We're going to be relying on our technology phones.
Right.
You can kind of do that. You can really just kind of talk to it. Again, it's not just hey, fix the errors in here. It's, hey, let's have a talk through this with me. If you were just trying to go through something and get its opinions on something you've written, hey, talk to this with me. If you have a podcast you want to talk about and go through questions that might come up based off certain topics, you can do that. Again, it's not a human, but it can kind of break down the different scenarios it sees from its knowledge. It's only going to give you what it knows, though. Now, it's not a human, so it doesn't process like us. It does it a lot faster, and it's pulling differently. It doesn't have emotion, so you can be mean to it. Don't be mean to it because it's just weird.
You can have like an Einstein 5-year-old,
Right. You can be, hey, just talk through a scenario with me. What happens here? I mean, we can try it out now if you have any kind of ideas in your head. How
about we look up why should I not be afraid of AI, and you tell me who are we talking to? Is it Claude?
I have it open. We can the best thing about this is we can try out different versions and see what the difference it gives you. So we can try our paid version of Claude. We can pull up a free version of ChatGPT, and we can also just ask Google. Because if you haven't noticed yet, every time you Google something, it's their AI
giving
bot.
You an
it's
AI response.
It's the Gemini Google bot.
Yes.
Which it's kind of just, it used to just give you suggestions or a suggested answer, but you can see how much better it is nowadays and how much more information. There's some things that I don't even have to ever click on a link anymore. And if you do, you can go back and see where it's sourcing it from, but it's so much better than it was even earlier this year. So you want to ask why we shouldn't be afraid of AI.
Correct.
Let's see what it says.
Now, for everybody's watching the podcast, he's literally doing this in real time. So we're going to see real quick on the introduction to AI podcast and the start of the six podcast miniseries, what's going on with AI? Well, we're going to find out right here. What does it say that we should do or not do? Should we be afraid of AI, and what does it say?
See, AI doesn't do anything unless you reconnect to the Wi-Fi. So at the end of the day, it's not that powerful.
Gotcha.
So I simply asked, why shouldn't we be afraid of AI?
Okay.
Let me share a balanced perspective on this important question. While AI does present some legitimate concerns that we should carefully consider and address, there are several key reasons why excessive fear may be unwarranted. Number one, AI systems like myself have clear limitations. We're tools that designed for specific purposes, not general purposes, autonomous agents. We can't retain information between conversations from independent goals or take physical actions in the world. Number two, the development of AI has brought many tangible benefits to fields like healthcare, scientific research, education, safety. Three, there's significant ongoing work in AI safety and ethics. Many researchers, companies, and policymakers are actively working to ensure AI development remains beneficial and aligned with human values. And the last one, four, current AI systems work best in collaboration with humans, augmenting rather than replacing human capabilities. We're most effective when working together, combining AI processing capabilities with human judgment, creativity, and wisdom. So like we've been saying this whole time, it works with you. It's a tool. It's an assistant, in your own kind of words, to help you with things and just help save you time. That's the best way I can say it to anyone in the RTO business, any business, it'll save you time. I know we all complain about not having enough time to do this or do X. How are we doing that? How can we be more efficient with our time? Are we wasting an hour on something that might only take 5 minutes if we do it in a chatbot or do it in an AI service? That's how we use it. One point I wanted to bring up here, there's ongoing work in AI safety and ethics, right? So the balance of government working to go against it in good ways and bad, and what companies are doing it's only going to give us right now what we give it. It's only going to learn and know things from that. It cannot go take something that someone hasn't programmed into it. So there's also that. That's another difference you'll notice in between different chatbots and different systems. There can be difference in how they say things or word things, and you can notice opinionated differences from certain companies' chatbots. So
Really?
It's only going to give you what it has. Again, so it's not just an unleashed animal like we see with many things nowadays. There's not just like the NIL and college football. It's not like that. I think we have AI under much better control right now than we do with that. But again, right now it's a tool, and that's what it's helping. And there's things it's doing really well, and I think it's going to continue to do that.
Well, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Right now, what we wanted to do was just kind of give you an insight of what we wanted to talk about, how AI is here, and what it's going to do for you. The truth is, one day we used to scoop sand with our hands, and then we became a shovel, and then we got one of these big excavators, and before you know it, we're building these monstrous buildings because technology just built on itself. Well, here we are. We first started with our handwriting, then we got into word processing, and it kind of just took care of us there. We got into computers where word processing and everything else was built in, and before you know it, we're sending PDFs to our telephones just to get things done. Well, here is another iteration of AI and how we can make that work simply by working with these tools. It's a tool that we're going to use every single day in Rent to Own, and we're going to get into with you how to do that. So you're going to see me and Daniel going over it. I want you guys to know we do appreciate you spending some time with us. If you can see me on the podcast, I'm wearing the red team shirt that I got from Vox Populi. Listen, this is for, well, why don't let you explain it? Because this is something that I really believe in, and I knew that as soon as I saw it, I was going to take part in that. But Daniel, why don't you explain the red shirt?
So the red shirt is, if you look on the right sleeve on Pete's shirt or any red shirt you might get from us, red is a organization, it stands for Remember Everyone Deployed. I don't know when we started doing it every day at Vox. We've done it with buddies. We've done it with a couple other companies. We've really pushed it these past couple of years. It's been easier to push around Veterans Day for obvious reasons, but we have put a program in this year where we are donating, I think it was $5 for every shirt or every item was going directly to the organization, supporting family members, service members, all deployed. It's a pretty cool thing. At Vox, since again, way before I started a couple years ago full time, we were wearing Red Shirt Friday. So whether it's just your polo, whatever red, we have our team meeting and the full circle of everyone is wearing a red shirt. That's awesome. It's pretty cool. And again, something we've been doing with some of our clients like Buddies, Superior Rent to Own. They love it, and we did some stuff for them this year.
Great.
It's just great to see people wearing it.
So, like, there was a goal, right? And on top of this, because I know that we're talking about AI, but I wanted you guys to know that you can get a hold of Vox at voxpopuli.com and order your red shirt, because this is important, not only for you, but for them, knowing that they have a goal to reach. Is it a $1 million goal that we're trying to reach?
I think so. We have I think it's a $1 million goal. The more the merrier.
We don't have to stop at $1 million.
We don't have to stop. We don't have to hit it. We are going to do, and it's only going to go to a good cause. We enjoy it. Again, it works into your corporate uniforms and it supports something well. So you might as well put your money to even better use.
Well, I needed a shirt, so I made sure it was a red one. Listen, we do appreciate you listening to the podcast today. We're starting on episode 2 very soon, and that will come out to you. And we're going to explain AI a little bit more and how it's going to help you. If you have any questions, please always hit it up at the show at pete@thertoshowpodcast.com. If you want to get a shirt, voxpopuli.com. And I will tell you, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. There's I see Vox is doing really big on LinkedIn right now.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see us on there. Always feel free to hit us up. And I will tell you guys, as always, keep your collections low to get your sales high. Have a great one.